Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I titled this message based on a title in my book called Moms Be Like Me, Indoctrination. And what better time than to bring this up as we close out the holiday season. There are mothers, very, very self-righteous types of mothers who use the holidays to their advantage. They're going to play the guilt trip on those who did not buy them good gifts or didn't bother to do anything to acknowledge them around the holidays. Some are going to use scriptures like honor thy mother and thy father, for thy days will be longer, as an excuse to manipulate, to be gossips and busybodies and so forth. The aftermath of the holiday gift exchange, dinner celebrations, and even church attendance will bring out the ugly in some of these so-called good mothers. Whether she is your biological mother, mother-in-law, spiritual mother, guardian, or some other mother-type figure, she is one that God zeroes in on. She may not ever tell you that she feels bad about some things she said or did or didn't do around the holiday season. But God sees and God knows that some of these manipulative mothers want a lot, but they are not willing to do too much of anything because, well, I raised you, you're out of my house, so therefore you owe me, you need to do for me, and if you don't, well, curse it be upon you. Well, I will tell you that I am a child of God. And I do believe that irregardless of titles, that when one is walking righteously and doing what is right, that God has a way of reversing the curses that so many like to put upon children of light. It doesn't matter what her title is. When she is out of fellowship with the Lord, when she is rebellious, when she is narcissistic, when she thinks that she is better than other folks, then she will reap what she has sown sooner or later. Sometimes she isn't the one who reaps, but her children reap as a result of the things she has said and done or didn't do. Now, we can watch this story unfold from afar, and shall we do that for a moment? There is a mother out there who decides that she wants to talk about her children, stepchildren, grandchildren, or what have you. And she does it not in a positive way, but in a negative way. And sometimes she does it so that people will pity her and so that they can show up with cards, gifts, and so forth. She is self-absorbed. She's not the least bit thinking about Jesus and what he has done. Instead, she is more concerned about what people are going to do for her. She missed out on some things in her early life, her childhood. And so she had some examples around her that weren't necessarily good examples. So what she does is, in some ways, repeats the cycle. She says she's not controlling, but she does things that are controlling. She says that she's not like her mother, but she has some ways very much like her mother. She says that she would never do this and never do that while she judges other folks, and she does the very things in slick ways, subtle ways, in ways that are going to get her sons and daughters or son-in-laws or daughter-in-laws to behave in a certain way. Tradition is that we celebrate over at mother's house. Tradition is that we want this and we want that, and we expect this from our children. And so the in-laws are to follow suit with that. But what happens when mother's demands get in the way of what God's will is for each and every one of us? What happens when mother goes to the father with all of her selfish demands? What happens when mother curses her children, grandchildren, or whoever because her selfish needs were not met during the holiday season? I can tell you that there are some sickly mothers. Some sickly mothers that suddenly an illness falls upon her. And while people don't know what all went on behind closed doors between her and the Heavenly Father, I can tell you that for some mothers, they are reaping what they have sown. They went to God with all of their negativity, and God pretty much allowed some things to happen where the enemy showed up and showed out. And so now a mother has to lay on her back for a while. No, she's not going to tell you how God operates in her life. She's not going to tell you the truth about her negative speech, her negative conduct, and why she is going through much after the holiday season. She's not going to talk about the depression that falls upon her, or maybe she does for some pitying, but some are not going to get into the depression that falls upon them because they just don't know how to act right. Some is going through much because they just had babies and the baby did a number on their bodies. And so you have that father who's also going through his share of the blues. And so things aren't all that peachy in the household. This is where the prayer warriors have to arise. And it's not about gifts and what this one cooked and what this one said during the holidays. It's about praying and asking that the Holy Spirit show up and show out in some unsaved, backsliding, apostate types of individuals' lives. God is not pleased when people are doing things that are about themselves. This is why this pagan holiday we keep talking about, those of us who don't celebrate, is not a good idea for those who are trying to be elevated spiritually, for those who are trying to get up out of the matrix of foolishness when it comes to their family and family traditions. The pagan holiday is nothing more than a tool used by Satan himself to cause you to be once again enslaved emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Rather than coming up higher, you find yourself being mixed up once again in somebody's, you need to celebrate me, you need to be more like me. Which takes me to a title in my book on page 31, Tell Me Mother You're Sorry. Moms Be Like Me, Indoctrination. Somebody, you need to hear that once again. Moms Be Like Me, Indoctrination. You see, some mothers don't want you to have this book because this book is convicting. This book is going to open up a whole can of worms, and this book is going to cause you to look at your mother a little bit differently. And that's just what God wants you to do, because too many mothers have put themselves on a throne in the family. Okay? And they have said for too many years, celebrate me, be like me, do what I tell you. And God said, you've got to let your children go. You see, Mary had to do it with Jesus. Did I have to go there? Yes, I think I'm going to have to go there. Mary had to do that with Jesus. They were looking around for Jesus. Where's Jesus? Where's Jesus? And here he was, hadn't gone with the family back home. He was over there spending some time in the house of the Lord with the teachers, learning. Some of you all, rather than spending so much time with your family, you need to be in the house of the Lord, learning, studying, showing thyself approved unto God. God has a will for your life, but you can't see it because you're too busy doing what mom wants you to do. Moms Be Like Me, Indoctrination. I'm reading out of Tell Me Mother You're Sorry, and then I'm going to get into scripture. Mother's childhood programming of her children becoming many versions of her started as soon as they verbalized, I need you, mommy. It is quite natural for a mother to want to care for her children, but things begin to turn ugly when she doesn't release them to be themselves. I don't need your help, Mom, says the child. But you do. Let me do that for you. You know you can't do that. Remember, you told me you were scared. Stop fighting me. You need me. I don't need you, says demanding mom. In the book Codependent Parent, Free Yourself by Freeing Your Child by Barbara Cotman Besno, she writes about the challenging parent. Demanding parents push, prod, and pressure their children to accept the hero's role. Dictatorial methods of parenting had some pretty predictable results. Two children who are burdened with feelings of inadequacy because they were seldom permitted to express their own opinions and individuality, and who are acting out both doormat and rebel personas, a classic consequence of demanding parenting. So, let us envision a scenario where mother is at the holiday event and her children are speaking all sorts of things about their personal opinion on an issue, whether it's political, personal, what have you. And mother decides that she wants to interject her opinion. In her opinion, it sounds more like her controlling people. I didn't raise you to think like that. Where did you get that from? And what is going on here? Let me tell you something. This is the way you should be thinking. Okay? And then she wonders why her children don't grow up, why her children don't let go of her, why her children are always getting on the phone telling her about this thing and that thing, because she doesn't allow them to be themselves. She's too busy wanting them to be more like her. The adult's programming of a son or daughter acting like her intensified when mother started noticing one's growing independence, but at the same time there were mistakes her child was making during the process. Demanding parents are perfectionists. Let me say that again. Demanding parents are perfectionists. The holiday has to be celebrated this way. You have to come over here. This item is supposed to be set out right here. You are not supposed to go over there in the kitchen and do this, that, and the other. You know you're supposed to come over here with us. We are not supposed to be opening gifts right now. We're supposed to be opening gifts after right? Oh my goodness. And then some of these men and women wonder why their husbands and wives or boyfriends and girlfriends don't want to spend another holiday event at mother's. Okay? Mother, she's demanding. She's a perfectionist. They are intolerant of mistakes. Oh my gosh, I told you to make sure that the children sit close to the table. Oh, there they go again with these crumbs. Oh, they're so messy. Oh, I wish these children would be taught. They're too old for this. And then you wonder why people don't want to come and visit you. Mother, you demanding woman. You're perfectionist. You might have acted in ways that showed you haven't learned life lessons, so she needed to recreate you into what she liked about herself. This is why some of the children get the favor where the other siblings don't get the favor, because the ones that are more like mother, they're showered with gifts. Or if they adore mother, maybe they're not like mother, but they just adore mother. They praise mother. They give mother everything. Or they acknowledge mother. Where those other children, they're so terrible. Oh, cursed be upon those children who don't honor me. You see? Some of you all, you need to get this book if you want to break that bondage that you're in with these mothers and mother-in-laws and spiritual mothers. And some of you all have spent so much money. And then when you need money, mother says she doesn't have any and you shouldn't have bought all those gifts. Wow. You might have acted in ways that showed you haven't learned life lessons, so she needed to recreate you into what she liked about herself. And some mothers do a good job of doing this. If you were more like me, you would do this and not that. See, if you would just do things like me, that would have never happened. I want you to be like me, so don't listen to them. You don't need anyone. That's why I'm here. As long as a son or daughter continues to make the kind of mistakes that show one needs his or her parents, the individual will never mature. And unfortunately, this is what some mothers hope for. And some of these mothers keep interjecting themselves into the relationships that the son has with with his wife, because why? She's jealous because she doesn't have a good relationship with her husband, because she is a control freak, because she thinks that whatever he's doing or saying is not good enough, Or she believes that, you're acting just like you're no good daddy. Let me just go ahead on and tell you how you should act with your wife or with your girlfriend. And you know, the wives and the girlfriends, they pick up on this sort of thing. You're nothing more than a mama's boy. I'm tired of going through this with you. You know what? This relationship is over. I've had to go through this for far too long. You and your mama in my money, your mama in my business, your mama involved with the children, your mama. You always want us to go over there to go see your mama. And then for some people, that's not even their biological mother, but they're just so enamored with somebody's mama that here we go again. Everybody got to go over here to go see spiritual mama, godly mama, mama who is like God. And the man, he can't do anything without getting guidance from this one. Oh, Jesus, I'm talking to somebody and my heart grieves because these people, they go through so much for love. That's what it boils down to. They love their partner so much that they're willing to go through the fire concerning a mother. But then when this person doesn't recognize this sort of thing, it isn't any wonder why divorces happen. You know, I went through so much dealing with you and your mother. You and your grandmother, you and your spiritual mother, you and this mother and that mother. I'm so tired of this. Don't you have a life? Don't you have your own opinions? Can't you do anything without calling your mother? Does your mother have to know that we went to the store? Does your mother have to know that we're saving for this particular travel? And then you know that she's going to want to come. And then do we have to share everything with your mother, including our money? Jesus. If selfish mom wants her kids to move back home, she finds a way to make that happen. By using statements that will make her children nostalgic to want to go back home for more of her me programming. I can see he's starting to fall away from me since he got married to her. Well, let me see if I can come up with another plan to break up this marriage too. Oh, some of these mothers, they got a long track record of destroying their sons and their daughters. They don't want them married. You're changing now that you're with him. You're not buying for us. You're not coming around us. You don't even call us. It's a shame after all of what we done. My Bible, I do recall, says something about cleaving, right, to one's wife, husband, what have you. You're not supposed to be all under your mother. You're supposed to move on with your life. You're not supposed to be caught up in your parents' programming. You're supposed to move on with your life and be there for your family. Be there for that wife who's grieved because you're caught up in mama's matrix. Be there for that husband instead of being for daddy and mama all the time. What's going on? And some folks, it's not even about all the time. It's about during those key times, during those key holiday seasons, you run after your family. Your childhood family, as opposed to your intermediate family taking care of their needs first. I got to compete with my siblings because I know my siblings went over there and they bought mom and dad a gift. Okay, let me come up with some money and stuff because I know that I want to be, included in the will. I want to be a part of this and I want to be a part of that. That's why a lot of them do it. It's not so much about, oh, well, I just love mom. So some of them, they're competing with one another because they want a place in that will. You see? And so when we see this sort of thing, we've got to see where God wants us to be. Maybe it is about being there with mom, and maybe it's about being there with your husband. You see? Because there's some relationship issues that are starting to arise as a result of all of this family brainwashing, programming, be like me indoctrination. Listen to some of these examples. If she wants her children to go to college, she will make the sacrifice, even if it means putting marriage, bank account, and other things at risk, so that children will look good for me and one day do for me. If she wants her children married, she will push it. She hopes to have grandchildren one day. Whatever she desires, she finds a way to make things happen. Not so much for the children, but for her. It's about what makes the attention-starved mother happy and looks good in her eyes, and sons and daughters must follow suit, you see. A narcissistic mother, one who is very much into herself, feeds her desires, or what psychologists would like to say, seeks out her narcissistic supply. You see, the holidays is a key time for this sort of thing. Sons and daughters are her supply. They don't realize that they are more than just children to the selfish, demanding mother. You see, they don't realize what's going on. They just think, oh, 'tis the season, it's good, it's wonderful, it's nice, it's the holidays, okay? They learn of her ways and mimic them with their own children. However, when dear sweet mom sickens of her supply, she will look for ways to withdraw emotionally and or physically from them until she needs more supply in the future. You see, so I can tolerate you around the holidays. You're feeding my supply, but then your children got on my nerves. And so therefore you can go away for another 6-9 months. I don't care, because I'm fed. You see, it's not natural. It's actually unnatural. I'm only wanting you around because I can get something from you. I want you around to help me with my projects. I want you around to do some chores for me. I want you around because it's the holiday season and I don't want to be alone. But then once I got all that I can get from you, bye-bye, see you. Don't come back around for another whatever. Okay? Some of you all got folks like this. You better stop feeding into that narcissistic supply, because it destroys families. Your personal family, your family that God blessed you with, because you fall for it, and then you start taking your attitude out on your intermediate family because you see the manipulation that's going on with moms. Okay? Most young and older offspring don't see narcissistic moms writing on the wall because they are too busy cleaning mom's walls. Come on. They mistake her using them for loving them. You know the difference between a mother who truly loves her children and one who doesn't. She isn't that much concerned about her children, making her happy, doing for her, building her up, entertaining her, honoring her. But for her narcissistic, demanding mothers, it's always about performing for her and the family. This is what it's about. And when God shines that light and you sitting up there grieving what your mother said, and you're upset because she gave to your sibling and not to you, or gave to all of your siblings' children but not to your children, you got to know who is operating behind the scenes. Mama got some demons in or around her. Mama got some bad examples that were put before her, and so she uses and abuses. Whether it's emotional or physical abuse, whether she is involved or not involved, she has a game plan, honey. And if you don't step up to the plate and see the writing on the wall, you will be caught up in her matrix of foolishness. You will be that one that's sitting up there all confused in your mind, wondering why mama treats me in the way that she treats me. Why is it that I keep running back on some guilt trip that she designed, she manufactured, she came up with? She even lied or exaggerated to her partner so that her partner could go along with the programming. She knows how to manipulate him too. And so everybody around her is like pawns on a chessboard. Have you ever played chess? Every piece on that board has a function, and mom knows how to manufacture those pieces on the board in such a way to get some things done to make her feel good. And when she's on her guilt trip, here she go getting caught up in the guilt trip. Lord, please forgive me. You know that I didn't really mean, but these kids should have done this and that and the other. Many depressed moms who don't like their present lives, listen to this closely, okay? Many depressed moms. This isn't just any mother. These are depressed moms, and some of them aren't depressed, but I already got into them. They're narcissistic. Now we're getting into the depressed moms who don't like their present lives. They don't like their present lives. They made bad choices. They don't like their husbands. They don't like the neighborhood they live in. It's boring. They don't get out much, okay? They're depressed moms who don't like their present lives, figure out ways to clean up their past mistakes, see? Because they know that they've done some things that was messed up. So they try to figure out some ways to clean up their past mistakes and nightmares, because some of them go through all sorts of traumas that come back from childhood and so forth. by living their lives through their children. So I'm going to do some things that's going to make me feel good. So I've got to live my life through my children. Okay. I want them around. Why? Because I got some issues. I want them around because they make me feel a certain kind of way. I kind of missed out on some things that they were doing. And so let me figure out a way to draw them back to me, even though I messed them up. Okay. When sons and daughters are compliant, and help them feel good about themselves, right? 'Tis the season of holidays. They are praised, but when they don't follow the game plan, you didn't follow the game plan. You didn't call me. You didn't come around me. You didn't do this and you didn't do that. I'm not giving you your reward. Okay? They're pushed away. Out of sight, out of mind. Contrary to popular thought, children are not brought into the world to serve parents, right? Oh, I made these kids. I brought these kids into the world. Correction. I do remember Jesus, God, right? He's the author. He's the finisher of our faith, and he's our creator. So what is this about serving the parents, bringing children into the world to serve the parents? It's supposed to be all about the parents. No, I will honor, right? I will respect, and I will do as the Lord leads, because not every parent we can put ourselves in a position to do some things for them. Why? Because some of them are incarcerated, because some of them have some mental illness, because some of them have done some downright dirty, evil stuff. And God does not want us to be in darkness with some of these people. It doesn't matter their titles. Once again, I've got to reiterate this. Okay? So, contrary, right, to popular thought, children are not brought into the world to serve parents. They are products of an awesome creator and are not mother's puppets or robots, but God's children. And that's what some of these mothers don't like. God done took over my child. You know, God, that I birthed this child into this world and I needed somebody to be there for me. You know that I wanted to be loved. You know that my husband didn't love me in a way that he should have loved me, or my boyfriend, or whatever. Okay. Or whoever. And so this child was my light. This child was my love. I thought you gave this child for me, and you turned around and you took this child away from me. And now this child is married, and now this child is doing stuff for you. He should have been there for me. She should have been there for me. Oh, these mothers be having fits behind closed doors. I'm just telling it. And you never know. You never know, because you weren't there. But that husband probably knew some things, or some sibling in the house knew some things. Mama was tripping, honey, when you got married. Mama was tripping when you stopped calling her. Let me tell you, mama went off the deep end, started bad mouthing you so bad when you stopped coming around. Jesus, Ishianda. Like Jesus's mother, Mary, a mother, is a mere vessel. Doing all of this praise and worship on Mary. She was a vessel. Just like your mother was a vessel and brought you into this world. The only thing that's different between Mary and that mother that you have is that Mary was the mother of Jesus. And Jesus, as you very well know, was birthed into this world to save our wretched selves. Okay. But Mary was a vessel, just like your mother is a vessel, used by an awesome creator to bring life forth, not to recreate it in a way that God didn't intend. If you recall, in the Bible, there isn't much attention placed on Mary after Jesus was born, and the Son of God wasn't interested in appeasing his mother either. Something worth pondering. Okay. He didn't make Mary a God in his life. He was and is God. The Messiah was more concerned about his Holy Father's business. And let us get into the word of the Lord. Now, going to the scriptures where there was a prophecy that went forth. You, my friend, 9 times out of 10, somebody in the course of your life, whether to your mother or to somebody in your family, okay, had gave a prophetic message and said some things about you. in terms of your future. Now, whether your mother paid close attention or not, one doesn't know. But the thing is that God had already predestined you to be something. And mothers who are jealous and covetous and got all sorts of personality issues and are unhappy will take you off track. You could be 20, 30, 40 plus years old and still don't know what your calling is because you're too busy chasing after your mother. You're too busy listening to your mother. You're too busy appeasing your mother. Okay. Now, giving an example of a prophecy that went forth. Okay. A prophecy that went forth was when John the Baptist was born. Now, you know, John was the one who baptized Jesus. And if you didn't know, you can read about that in Luke chapter 1, verse 7. Or Luke chapter 1, verse 57. When it was time for Elizabeth to have her baby, she gave birth to a son. Her neighbors and relatives heard that the Lord had shown her great mercy, and they shared her joy. Okay. Now, when you were born, somebody was excited. Somebody was happy. Okay. It may not have been mom. It could have been some other people in the family. Okay. But either way, though, there was a prophecy way, way back when that was spoken over your life. Now, like I said, if she didn't pay attention, then so be it. She didn't pay attention. But your prophecy had went forth. And if you don't know, or you feel like you don't have a clue as to what God's will is for your life, you need to get in touch with God and find out what was the prophecy. What was given and what is it that you're supposed to be doing now? Okay. So attention is off of mother and on to you. Okay. Now, in this particular situation, the prophecy went forth. It was his father, Zechariah, who gave this prophecy. Okay. The boy's name was he was named John. And he wasn't just any child, because he was going to be the one later on that would baptize Jesus. The prophecy gave forth to this child was, praise be to the Lord, the God of Israel, because he has come and has redeemed his people. He has raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he said through his holy prophets of long ago, salvation from our enemies and from the hand of all who hate us, to show mercy to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant, the oath he swore to our father Abraham. Now, as you can hear, there is some history that's given. Okay. And there is some things to come to rescue us from the land of our enemies and to enable us to serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness before him all our days. There are directives that are given according to the Holy Spirit that are placed upon our lives. And these are things that are to help others. Okay. So whatever your gifting is or was that you may have been in the dark about, God reminds us of what those things are. Okay. So if a mother didn't do all what she was supposed to do to put us on track, God says, don't worry about it, because you're following me. You've accepted me. I'm going to put you on track. Your mother's been a distraction over the years. Your mother has made some poor decisions concerning you. Now I've got to get you where you need to be, where you should have been 20 some years ago. Now I'm putting you where you need to be. Where she should have had you get the necessary teachings and been under my leadership, now I am putting you where you need to be. So we say goodbye to mothers and fathers and people from way back when, and we get to where we need to be. Okay. Now, does goodbye mean forever and always? Not necessarily. For some people, yes, it does mean that, because mothers have not changed. Mothers are not walking where they need to walk. And so as you draw nearer to the Lord, it may be a forever goodbye. Okay. That's a rough calling on some folks, but it is what it is, because some mothers just aren't right. For other people, it's a temporary thing. It's not necessarily always. It's a temporary thing. God got to get you where you need to be strong spiritually, mentally, and physically before you can go back and deal with mothers. Okay. And then, of course, there are those who mom is going along for the ride, but mom is not driving. Okay. You've got to be the one that's driving. You've got to be the one that's putting mother in her place when she's stepping out of line when it comes to you and your family. or when it comes to you, maybe you don't have a family yet, but you are in a direction that you know you're supposed to be in. So you don't need mothers. Oh, I'm sick. Oh, I don't feel good. Oh, you need to come over here and see about me. You don't need all of that distraction because you are in school. You are achieving some things. You are going in a direction where God has placed you because you prayed, you fasted, you trusted in the Lord. Now, you may not have done all of that. I suggest that you do, though, because you may be going in the wrong direction. And I remember going in the wrong direction because I wasn't taking God seriously. Okay. And so I'm being led by counselors. I'm being led by whoever doing whatever, led by people that's after money and wanting you to pull out all sorts of student loans and everything else. So you've got to make sure that God is in fact in the plan so that you don't waste money and waste time and waste energy. This is why some mothers, like I said, they're so busy caught up in what they look like to other people. And they're so busy worrying about what their children should be doing for them that they end up deviating from what God has called their children to be. Okay. All right. Now, Jesus is born in Bethlehem. Luke chapter 2. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to his own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. Now, this gives you some background as to what was going on at that particular time while Mary is with child. Okay. And Mary, mind you, had received a prophecy in terms of her baby and what the mission was for him. 3 times people had come to her and told her things about Jesus. Okay. And so her job was to care for her baby. Right now, if she was caring for her baby while in the back of her mind talking about, okay, now Jesus owed me later on, like so many of these mothers do, Jesus would not have done what God wanted him to do. And that is what throws a lot of these people off track, is because you got mothers who, yes, listen to what Mary was doing back then. While they were there, this was in Bethlehem, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger because there was no room for them in the inn. Okay. Now, there were things that were taking place over the course of Jesus's years. Had Mary in her mind been thinking, you owe me, Jesus, Jesus would have never done what he was supposed to have done. Thank God for Jesus that he wasn't about thinking about what his half sisters and brothers and everybody else wanted, thinking so much about, they had 18 years plus dealing with Jesus. Okay. And then on top of that, he had went back after studying with the teachers and so forth, was there taking care of family responsibilities. It's assumed that Joseph at some point had passed away, but then Jesus left. Okay, Mom, I did my part. I helped out with the siblings and everything else. I'm going. And he left and started helping out other people and recruited disciples and so forth. Okay, and started walking in his Father's calling. So we are not called to be there forever and always in the church setting, under ministers, doing everything for them. And we're not called to be under families doing everything for them for always in our youth. Okay. Contrary to what these mothers in the back of their minds are thinking, you owe me. No. You have me mistaken. I don't owe you anything. God used you as a mere vessel to bring me into the world, just like Mary was used as a mere vessel to bring Jesus into the world. Okay. And so therefore, if there's anything that you need to take from this message, is that we're not supposed to continue to see Jesus as that little baby in the manger. Okay. As that baby that, okay, mommy was caring for. And so he owed his mother and he was supposed to do for his mother and all that. There was a season for all that. But then Jesus had to leave. Okay. Jesus had to leave. And some of you all, you are being called to leave. You can't keep staying on the phone for hours and hours and hours being fed all a mother's stuff, busybody stuff, gossip stuff after the holidays. Let me tell you what so-and-so did and blah, 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 bringing you down. You're supposed to be that parent to your child that is supposed to do what God has called you to do. Okay. So there you have it. Please do tell me, Mother, you're sorry if you still feel entangled in a yoke of bondage concerning your mother. God has called us out of that, whether it's your spiritual mother, mother-in-law, biological mother. And some of you all get the book for understanding concerning other people's mothers. I keep running up against problems and he keeps throwing his mother up to my face. Get understanding as to what is going on. This is a dysfunctional relationship that takes place. I don't have the chains around the man's ankles on the cover of that book for nothing. It is bondage. And some of you all, it's not the mother, it's the father. It's the father that got some of you all entangled in a yoke of bondage. And if you want to be free, like the woman on the cover of my ebook where she's got her hands up and she is free, then you need to get that book. And it doesn't have to be your biological father. It could be a stepfather. It could be a spiritual father. It could be somebody that's got a hold on you. And that person may have even died. Some of these people, the mother died and she's still speaking through the grave in so many different ways. And continuing to keep that yoke of bondage placed around some of these people's feet. She got that be like me indoctrination from the grave. And that is not anything that is in the least bit godly. That ain't nothing but a demon working with some of these mothers. I want to be like my mother. I want to do things like my mother and all that. And God said, I didn't call you to be a mini me of your mother. I called you to be free of that. I didn't call you to be a mini me of your father. I called you to be free of that. So say goodbye to dad. Get the book if you are going through something with a father rather than a mother, and tell me, Mother, you're sorry if you are that one or you know someone who is in a yoke of bondage concerning a mother. Jesus, we are to grow up with Jesus. He's not just that baby in a manger. He is a spirit, a Holy Spirit now. And he is guiding us every step of the way if we believe in him and trust in him. Now, if we don't, well, there's consequences to disobedience. Well, thank you as always for taking time out to listen. To God be the glory. Please do check the description box for anything that might be of interest. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Please subscribe today. And if you haven't given, we do welcome donations.